One of the most interesting characters in The Witch is the Black Goat, which the twins call Black Phillip. In this episode, I will provide a detailed analysis of who he is based on witchcraft lore and legends from other cultures. So, who is this goat? The goat in the movie is the devil. He recruits women to his side and then turns them into powerful witches. In exchange, they must give him their souls, and this agreement is bound by a contract, signed with blood. Although the Bible does not specifically mention that the goat is Satan, there is a parable about them in Matthew chapter 25. In it, Jesus will separate the sheep from the goat in his second coming. He will put the sheep to his right side and the goats to the left. The sheep are those who are saved and will go to the kingdom of heaven, while goats are those cursed with eternal hellfire prepared for the devil and his angels. This parable is probably the source of the goat becoming the representation of the devil in Christianity. There is one entity in Christianity that best symbolizes the goat as the devil, and the name of this figure is Baphomet. Although Baphomet is an ancient deity, he came into prominence in the 1300s. At that time, some members of the Knights Templar were accused of heresy. There were claims that they worshipped Baphomet, a demonic idol who has the head of a goat and the body of a man. Hundreds of years later, Baphomet resurfaced in human consciousness, and by 1856, he became a symbol of balance and order, similar to the yin and yang concept of the Chinese. How are goats associated with witchcraft? The medieval witches' Sabbath in Europe involved a ritual rooted in pagan origins. In these rituals, the witches had goat heads on the sacrificial table. However, do not confuse this with the Salem witch trials. There are no records of the association of goats with witches as far as North America is concerned. Although witches were believed to have existed hundreds or even thousands of years ago, it was not until the 15th century that witchcraft was viewed as a crime. Witchcraft had such a heavy influence on the social consciousness of the past that many works of art were made on the subject. One of the most enduring is Albrecht Dürer's Witch Riding Backwards on a Goat, released sometime in 1500 or 1501 during the height of the European witch panic. The print depicts a naked elderly woman riding backward on a goat, holding a broom with malice on her face. The goat is either her familiar or the devil himself. The children around her are called wing putti, or nude infants associated with Cupid. Also called cherubs, we usually think that they represent love or angelic spirits. However, in the 1500s, cherubs also represented science and scientific principles. The one on the right is holding a spherical pot, which is likely a symbol of an aludel, a kind of pot used by alchemists in their experimentations. The one on the left carries a potted plant, which is a depiction of a thorn apple. The thorn apple, or datura, is an important flora in traditional folk medicine, but it is also equally useful to a poisoner. Another interesting story about the association of goats with evil is that of Aleister Crowley, one of the most renowned occultists of the 20th century. He used many symbols associated with the devil, including the goat. Crowley, a self-proclaimed prophet, sought to challenge conventional religious morality. He embraced the goat as the emblem of spiritual liberation and defiance. Baphomet, by this time, represents a blend of dualities, male and female, human and animal. In other cultures, the goat was worshipped as a god, and one of the most notable is Pan, the Greek god of shepherds. In Greek mythology, Pan is often depicted with the legs, horns, and hindquarters of a goat. Pan's worship began in Arcadia, and he was a rustic god, which means it was uncommon to build temples for him. Instead, the mountain people worshipped him in natural settings, like caves and forests. There are only two known temples of Pan, one on the Nida River and another at the Apollonopolis Magna in ancient Egypt. The ancient Arcadians built grottos for him and called these places the Cave of Pan. While Pan may look hideous, he is not evil. He represents both good and bad. He is also associated with physical desire. Furthermore, goats were worshipped in ancient Greece and were said to have intercourse with women. Pan's origins vary across myths. Some versions say that he is the son of Hermes and a nymph. Other stories say he is the child of Zeus and a nymph. In Egyptian mythology, goats were not as prominent in their culture as much as other animals. Similar to Greek mythology, goats were often associated with fertility and vitality due to their ability to thrive in harsh conditions and their high reproductive rate. In agrarian societies, goats symbolized prosperity as they provided milk, meat, and hides. The goat is also associated with Banebjadet, a ram deity who was worshipped as the Ba of the Lord of Mendes in the city of Mendes, which is now the modern city of Tel El Ruba. Banebjadet, a ram, not a goat, was associated with fertility, procreation, and the generative forces of life. Finally, in ancient Mesopotamia, which is now Iraq, the goat was depicted as a god. Enki, the god of water, wisdom, and creation, was sometimes symbolized by the goatfish, a mythical creature combining the attributes of a goat and a fish. Goats were also often linked to goddesses of fertility and abundance, such as Inanna or Ishtar. Depending on where you are or what your religion is, the goat can be a symbol of nature, strength, and a strong desire for sex. Or the goat can be a symbol of the occult and devil worship, such as depicted in the movie The Witch. Is the goat evil, or is it misrepresented? What do you think? If you enjoyed this video, then I recommend you watch what's on your screen right now. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching and see you next week.